This was a really embarrassing scene. In the bathroom, these four girls were discussing the expansion of the Justice Protection Club. Suddenly, there was a man entering into. He showed no shame at all. He even kept taking pictures of them. The girls also found out they had been photographed. They immediately put on their clothes and chased after him. At this time, the man ran extremely fast. He accidentally ran into a racetrack. At this moment, there was a running competition going on here. The photographer was trying to run away at a very fast speed. Unexpectedly, he was the first to touch the finish line. On the track, he even stole a tricycle to get rid of the four sisters. But unexpectedly, after that, the tricycle broke down. Meanwhile, the four girls also caught up with him. Seeing danger approaching, he also tried to keep running. But then, he bumped into a guard. And he accidentally injured the guard. Seeing that, he quickly continued to run away. After that, he ran to the international cycling track. While the athletes were preparing to reach the finish line, he ran over and bumped into the athletes. So the race was stopped because of him. Meanwhile, these four girls and the guard were taken to the police station. These four girls' advisors had to lie to the police to bail them out. After that, the advisor asked them to disband the Righteous Club and write a review. Because of this, the guard was also suspended from his job. After that, the four girls found out that the photographer had been released. At this point, May remembered the pictures he had taken. This was indeed a great danger to them. Therefore, they had to find him quickly to delete all those photos. After that, they silently followed the photographer. This guard was also curious and followed them. And they discovered that the identity of the photographer wasn't simple. They were hiding in a snack store. And witnessed the whole process of trading between the photographer and someone. Although they didn't know what kind of goods it was, they thought that this was definitely a kind of bad product. This guard was feeling excited. Because these four beautiful girls all said they had a close relationship with him. "Boss. Don't be so rude, quickly release my husband," Sam said. But Jessica said, "I just broke up with him because of her." "When did your love story begin?" Jenny asked. "Please stop. May, I hope you can send us your best wishes." Actually, they were just pretending to fool the store owner. After leaving, they started find a way to follow the photographer. Looking at the ad, they came up with a very unique way that was renting this place. By this way, they would be able to monitor the opposite side day and night. However, the rent for this place was a difficult problem for them. There was no other choice. Sam stole her father's money. May used the excuse to pay extra tuition to ask for money from her mother. Meanwhile, Jessica took all her savings, Jenny sold all her bags. Finally, the five of them had enough money. After that, they started to open a spicy noodle store just for special customers. And began implementing their plan. Sam was in charge of monitoring the photographer. The guard was in charge of collecting information. After a few days of investigation, they discovered that the smuggled goods were powdered milk. While they were still discussing, the underling of the gangsters came to the store. This underling had a little doubt about the guard. But fortunately, at this time, the owner of the snack store appeared. Because he misunderstood the guard had bad intentions towards his wife, he badly scolded the guard. Thanks to that, this underling was no longer suspicious of the guardian. Through this incident, they understood that in order to act, they had to gather all the elements. So they needed to sell spicy noodles. At this time, the four girls were all surprised. Because the guard was a master of cooking. Their store was promoted by a live streamer, and then it became famous. And the four girls were also hard at work. Sam was still in charge of monitoring as usual. Then she discovered the driver was trading. She hurriedly followed and quickly called everyone. However, because everyone was too busy at the store, no one answered the phone. While Sam was in a hurry, the driver lost track of the target. Therefore, she also lost a clue. When everyone was disappointed, suddenly they got a call to deliver the food. These four beautiful girls were walking confidently. It was like they were performing on stage. But unexpectedly, they were shipping food. Sam gently knocked on the door. But when receiving the food, the receiver immediately closed the door. After taking pictures, everyone brought them back to the store to analyze. At this time, they saw bad news on TV. Spicy noodle store is increasingly sly. They use business excuses to get sexy. They do business without a license, just for personal interests. This incident was known by the principal, so the four girls were expelled from the school. The guard was also fired. Their noodle store was also closed. However, they still hadn't given up, because they hadn't finished investigating the smuggling. When the guard was walking on the street, he suddenly noticed. The driver of the black car was queuing up for the car. The guard approached to understand the situation. But unfortunately, the group of gangsters suddenly appeared. They beat him badly, and then put him in the trunk of the car. Soon after, the guard was brought in front of the gangster boss. Before the boss could ask, the guard told him everything. After that, the four girls also received the threatening video. After the boss left, the guards started knocking down the subordinates. It turned out that he was a wrestling master before. The guard threatened the subordinates to tell the trading location. Then he quickly chased after. At this moment, the four girls also discovered the guard. They also sneaked behind the guard and also reached the trading location. Everyone was present at the transaction position. Smugglers were preparing to exchange goods. At this point, everyone prepared to attack the enemy. Sam used the stick to attack. She was born into a martial arts family. She knew martial arts as a child. Jessica also fought professionally because her father was a police officer. Therefore, since childhood she learned all kinds of fighting techniques. May used the piece of cloth as a weapon, because she was an excellent student in the physical education department. And Jenny was a sword master, so few people dared to come near her. Seeing the dangerous situation, the boss of the gangster hurriedly found a way to run away. Fortunately, there was a driver to help them, so they were able to catch up with the boss. However, when on the road, the boss's subordinates blocked their car. After that, they rushed to fight, and they finally defeated the boss. Thanks to the destruction of the smuggling gang, they were able to go back to school.